Welcome back to Local 4 News Over Coffee from Eldridge, Iowa, and the Scott County Library. Certainly all of our lives were impacted by the pandemic. Kids especially, we know they missed a lot, and their lives as students changed so much. They had to learn online. There were canceled sports and other extracurricular activities. It was actually a learning curve for educators as well. We're joined now by North Scott Junior High School Principal John Hawley joining us now in this conversation. Thanks so much for being here, Mr. Hawley.
Well, thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure.
What are some of the biggest challenges you faced as an educator over the last year?
Well, if you go back to spring break a year ago and school shutting down, I think the biggest adjustment was for our teachers in terms of now trying to be online, and they're used to being face-to-face. I think the biggest change is teachers in general, they are in this business because they want to make a difference in children's lives, and now those children are on some computer somewhere else, and to really make that connection, that was the first adjustment. And then just to have the tools to be able to teach online and have them do activities where they can learn, that was a huge
in such a short amount of time, without really testing how well and how effective you guys could be. Certainly, how did your teachers and counselors respond since that, really over the last summer, so that 90% of your students could be in class to the start of this year on day one?
That's an excellent question, and it was the work of a lot of people over the summer. So, of course, according to the state, we had to have a return to learn plan, and in our district, it was created by all of our administrators. We had instructional coaches, and we had counselors all developing things. So for example, for me, I worked on our social emotional plan with our counselors, and so we took plenty of weeks, Chad Ruth as a principal and I and the counselors, to develop that. And then there was an academic team, and there were all kinds of different teams, technology, and then we had to incorporate that all together. And then one thing I think we did really well in our district is each building, starting in July, had weekly, we call them, at the junior high, we call them coffee chats with our staff. And so we met for coffee at 8 o'clock every Thursday just to talk about the things that we were planning, get input from our staff, talk about changes from the COVID rules, and the next week we would say, well, that wasn't quite right, so we're going to adjust.
You just graduated a class of junior high school students, a class of 2021. They're heading to high school. What did it mean, though, for them to be able to graduate in person this year?
Well, just to be face-to-face, I have to congratulate all our students, because I know the other principals have talked about it. When we decided we were coming face-to-face, our community loved that. They wanted that social interaction. But also, for the most part, our kids wore their masks. It wasn't like I went into it thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to spend all of our time trying to get kids to wear masks, and they were great. They adjusted very, very well.
How did your administrators and teachers, I guess, develop a curriculum suitable during the pandemic for all grade levels?
Well, the big question from the spring was what is the gap of learning lost? And so we do everything in our community. One of the things we do really well is we're very cohesive, and we stress collaboration. So we have, whether it's a grade level collaboration in elementary or it's a department collaboration at the secondary level, they're working on that curriculum, and they're designing the assessments to find out where the gaps are, and then they're designing their instruction along with our instructional coaches to move in the right direction.
We saw Governor Kim Reynolds this week or last week sign legislation that will actually change how race can be taught in schools. No critical race theory. How does that affect what you do in your curriculum there?
Yeah, that's going to be a big adjustment for us, but at the same time, I don't know that we can really speak about it because nobody right now is we don't have a lot of expertise on what File 802 says. And so we'll have to study that first and then make those decisions afterwards.
Now, we know that not all kids want to pursue a college education necessarily. How does North Scott overall as a school district prepare students for other opportunities?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would say our high school administration has done an excellent job building the trades. And so one of the things that we stress both at the junior high and the high school is that we have all our kids get a post-secondary certificate. And so that may mean you go into the trades or you go into some 2-year program. We want all of our students to get some type of training, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a 4-year university. Also, our high school really has a lot of students taking dual credit courses, so some of them are graduating with a 2-year degree right out of high school.
We know this community has seen a significant amount of growth. How do you as a school administrator respond to that? How do you guys do it as a school district?
I think the level that has the most difficult challenge with that is our elementary buildings, because the growth is more in Eldridge and maybe not so much in some of the outer towns. So our enrollment at the junior high has stayed pretty level over the years that I've been there, but the elementary buildings have grown others have shrunk. And so we've created some policies to be able to let families shift.
Fantastic. North Scott Junior High School Principal John Hawley, thanks so much for the time. Good luck with everything you're doing in the school district.
All right. Thank you for having me.
And we'll be back with more Local 4 News over coffee right after this.